Life.Church created this podcast because we all need healthy conversations with real people. So this podcast is here to help you start conversations with your life group, friends, and family. Now, on to the show.
Welcome to the You've Heard It Said podcast. This is Allie.
And Jason.
And can I just start off with a personal technology rant?
Do I have an option?
No, basically. I just think that 2020 made us all realize how much we use technology, and it was an overload. So I just want to talk about the number of Zoom calls we've participated in this year. Like, okay, I love Zoom. I think it's great. We're able to safely meet together virtually. But come on, there's the awkward starts. The like, wait, you go. Oh, are you not done yet? Oh, sorry. So you're like awkwardly interrupting each other. Then there's the bad connection at literally the worst possible time in the meeting. It's like, are you just like playing us right now? Like, do you just not want to answer the questions? Your internet really this bad? I don't know. And then when it's time to hang up, we're all just like awkwardly waving at each other. We don't wave goodbye in person. And then it freezes on you mid-sentence, and you just have to like sit there like you're a real life meme.
Okay, yeah. You done?
I think so. Okay, rant over. That was a lot. Just processing here, you guys. I really actually did mean to talk about the benefits of technology.
Good.
I just got a little sidetracked there. I really do like technology. I actually don't know what I would do without it because I know I made fun of it, but I mean, I can't even read a map.
So everywhere you go, you use GPS, Google,
oh, for
something.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
I really want you to like have to use a map and drive somewhere. That should be a game we play.
I would be forever lost. But I do think that you will like this game that I made.
Oh boy.
Yes. So I'm going to list a bunch of technology and then we get points if we've used it.
What do I get if I win?
I don't know. The prize of a job well done.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyways, okay. A Sony Walkman.
Yes. The
No.
ones with the CDs and the ones with the tapes.
Okay. An original Game Boy.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Game Boy Color.
Was it yellow?
No, it was like clear.
Oh.
But the original Game Boy was like gray.
Oh.
And a big brick.
Oh, I really thought it was yellow. Like Pikachu? Is that?
No, that's not original.
Okay.
Nope.
Instagram.
Yes.
Yes. iPod.
Yes.
Yes. Cordless telephone.
Yes.
So I've never personally used one, but I've seen one.
Are you kidding me?
There was one at my house when I was little, but I was too little to use the phone. So.
I thought this was going to be like a rotary telephone. No. You've never used a cordless telephone?
No.
Oh boy. Can I add things to this list? Have you used a rotary telephone?
I don't know
like
what that is.
Like where you have to spin the dial?
I've seen one at museums, but I've never used one.
Okay.
Okay, MySpace.
No, I was a hater. I was a resistor. I said, no way, never happening.
You never used
Nope.
MySpace? Okay,
Nope.
I actually did. I had MySpace.
Okay, you win.
Quest.
I don't know what that is.
I don't actually know it either. I just looked up it on Google. Okay, TikTok.
I don't have the app.
Yes, I'm a lurker though. Vine.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, and a car phone.
Yes.
What? No.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my dad had a car phone. So yeah, I've used an actual working car phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have never actually seen one except for in movies. So, well, I actually don't know who won, but I think
won.
that I think that I won because I think I just proved that you're old.
That's not fair. I thought so this was like golf. Like you want to get a low score.
Basically,
okay.
Yeah.
I think that was rigged.
Clearly, we all do use a lot of technology. So that brings us to today's big question. How can we have a healthy relationship with technology? But we actually wanted to hone in on social media. So to start, we had a conversation with Mandy Meehan, who has a thriving YouTube channel and a significant Instagram following.
So my name is Mandy Meehan, and I am married to my husband, James. We are currently expecting our first baby, which is crazy. I'm enjoying the first trimester, all of the fun aspects of that right now, all the morning sickness and everything. And my husband is on staff at Life.Church, and I serve alongside of him. And we absolutely love getting to do that. And for me personally, I'm a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. So basically that means I work with people with all kinds of different health issues and give them just nutritional and lifestyle recommendations to help them in their health. And for me, what started that shift to that career path for me was a battle with chronic illness I've been actually going through for the past 4 years. And I've been very open about my journey and basically started sharing my journey on social media, and slowly but surely built a platform between YouTube and Instagram, and a couple other different social media platforms. And so that's part of what I do now. I'm not a big fan of the word social media influencer because it's a weird thing for me to say about myself. I think we all have influence that we can use for good or for bad. But it's interesting at this point, social media has turned into a part of my job for me.
Yeah. So I was just curious, can you take us back to when you first got social media? Like, what was your experience then? And then how has it evolved over time?
For sure. So I personally have always really loved social media. And I remember getting on my grandma's iPhone because she's very tech savvy, and getting on her Facebook and just looking at everything that I possibly could and trying to understand everything about the network. And so I was really excited to get to have Facebook one day. And eventually on Christmas, I opened up my stocking, and inside there was a little box, and inside the box was a paper that said I had permission to get on Facebook. So that was the beginning of that. And it's funny, I remember my parents sitting down with me and having a conversation like, okay, we know that social media, like it's this new thing, and a lot of people, they can end up spending a lot of time on it, and we really want this to not take over your life. And it's funny because when they told me that, I'm like, don't worry about me, I'll be fine. I have always been into technology. I always really enjoyed spending time on the computer, but I feel like I balanced it pretty well. But I think it was wise of them to have that conversation, just because, as a lot of us know, it can be very, very addicting to spend time on social media. So I definitely see a lot of the good in it. But at the same time, I've experienced some of the struggles of social media too.
For sure. What are some ways that social media has been really helpful in your life?
For me, dealing with chronic illness, I think that was a time where I really found the value. So I deal with a lot of severe chronic fatigue, which that's the big thing that hinders me from doing the things that I used to do before I got sick. So basically what happened, I was actually on staff at Life.Church, and I loved getting to do that. And I had to step away from my job due to my health issues. And I knew that I am called to make a difference. I know that I'm called to lead people to Jesus, to become fully devoted followers of Christ. And so there I was, finding myself stuck at home, barely honestly able to take care of myself at that point. But I knew I still had to serve. I knew I still had to find ways to help people. So social media was a big thing for me at that point, to be able to, first of all, connect with others in a way, you can never replace in-person interaction, but I was able to connect with people. And also I was able to really share my story and share hope that comes from Jesus, hope for chronic illness, or hope to get through any type of hard time. So that's been the biggest thing.
So can you kind of tell me a little bit about what has that journey been like for you?
I feel like I started to feel the most stress and anxiety as my Instagram platform began to grow. So I had a moment where my Instagram was starting to get a lot of traction. A lot of it was just because I was sharing a really big trip I was about to go on for treatment. Different people were sharing that were praying for you. A lot of people were reposting it. And I did in that moment gain a lot of followers, which for a lot of people, that may look really appealing, really exciting. And of course, like, I'm really grateful to share my story. Like, not a lot of people get to say that they can do that, but it caused a lot of anxiety for me in that time. And a lot of it was just because I already had anxiety about this health trip. And I felt this pressure that people were expecting me to come back from this trip better. And because things blew up so quickly, it was like I had, the world is so much bigger than you, and it's not all about you. But it felt like in that moment, all eyes are on me, and everyone's asking of me. Everyone's wanting something right now. And it actually led to, very soon after, just taking a month completely off social media.
So social media, it's a lot. Maybe you need to take a little break from your digital friends like Mandy did, and instead start investing some time into your real life friends. At Life.Church, that's why we encourage people to be in a life group. It can be super overwhelming to try to find those relationships, but we promise it really is worth the initial discomfort. You can try out a life group that works for you at life.church/lifegroups. I think it's interesting because I think a lot of people do have this idea of they want influence. And I think it's so interesting how once that started happening, that was a point where it started being overwhelming and you actually had to take a step back. Because I can't even imagine how it must have felt for you. But I know that if I ever get to the point where it's just like 5 DMs or something, I'm just automatically stressed out. Oh no, I have to respond. So I'm just curious, like, how did you know it was time to step back? And then what did you learn when you took some time away from social media?
I'll be completely honest. I like being informed. I like being in the know, but something that I keep having to work on is not getting social media FOMO.
Don't we all?
And so, I knew the weight I was feeling at that time. So even what happened with the health trip, I expected to come back feeling better and actually came back feeling worse. It was a pretty traumatic week for me. And so between that and the stress of social media, I knew I just really needed like a healing, seeking Jesus, no distractions month. And as soon as a family member suggested that, I knew that I needed to do that. And I went off everything. I think I stopped watching YouTube videos too. Oh, wow. It's actually interesting. That month is what led me to realize how much I had to help people in their health, how much I care about that and needed to find a way to do that as a job. So I actually found the schooling that I did and enrolled that month. So that was actually a big thing. When I stepped away from social media, I was able to really get centered and focused again to where I felt like God was leading me. Whenever you do something like that, it sounds really hard, but when you start doing it, it gets easier than you think it's going to be. It feels really good to be off.
Yeah. Have you ever taken a break since that time?
For me, I will take smaller breaks. Like I'll get off for a day or for the weekend. I haven't taken a break that long since then, but I think it's really wise to. I heard someone say this yesterday that they take 48 hours off social media a week. This person is a friend of mine, and I thought that was really wise. And I'd like to even just a day a week take the day off. I think that would be a great thing for me. Usually I see people have worse and worse boundaries because I feel like they have to be there for everyone. And the reality is you can't be there for everyone. And it really is not the most healthy thing to act like everyone has access to your cell phone number. So
yeah, that's such a good point. I never really thought about that. But people that follow you on Instagram, they really do have direct access to you through direct messaging and stuff. I've never thought about it like, oh, I'm actually giving people my phone number in a way whenever I'm letting them do that. That's pretty crazy. So you talked about some boundaries. So I'm just curious, what are some boundaries that you have in place as you do social media?
I think we do all have so many different things just asking of us and calling for us all the time. And so many advertisements, so many shows to watch, so much going on. And that's how the messaging can feel for me. There's so many people that need me. There's so many things I need to get back to. I need to be aware of. And so sometimes for me, setting boundaries is letting people know that I'm not going to be able to respond. And I'll have certain times set aside where I will respond and sometimes where I won't be able to. So for me, I'm not really the type of person where I have set times where I respond to DMs, especially with my health issues. I do have to do things when I feel like it because I don't always have the energy to do the things I'd want to do. So I have to really look at where I'm at in the moment and just ask myself, like, is this wise? Is this my best yes to say yes to looking at stories right now? Is this the time to veg out and just watch TikToks or whatever? Or is it the time to do something more productive? Is this the time to respond to DMs? Do I feel stressed out by this right now? Do I feel like I'm comparing myself to people in my feed? Because I feel like you've got to be self-aware. I can tell whenever I start to compare, when I start to be stressed out by all the bad news that I'm seeing. And if I see that, like whenever the virus this year really did flare up, a lot of people were probably on social media more. I knew I needed to take a step back because it stressed me out. So my phone time went down 25%. I knew I needed to take a step back. And that was the healthy thing for me right there.
First of all, I am very impressed by your screen time during COVID. My screen time, I think, doubled. So I'm feeling convicted. But no, what you were saying was really helpful, because I think that sometimes, especially about social media and technology, people will say things like, don't use it after 9, or like, just
Right.
put all of these hard and fast rules. And sometimes there's like this little rebellious part of me that's like, oh, you can't tell me what to do. I'm not going to put that
Right.
boundary on myself. So I think that it is really helpful to think about like, oh, what am I feeling today? Am I comparing myself to other people? What feelings do I have? Do I need to take a step back? So I think that that's a really good framework to think about it, that it doesn't necessarily have to be like a bunch of rules, but like, oh, okay, let me just do a little self-check-in today.
Right.
So are there any other negative things that social media can sometimes stir up in you? And then how do you address those things when they come up? Like if you find yourself starting to compare yourself with other people, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, that's a great question. When it comes to likes and followers, I think that is something that a lot of us can compare. I remember back when I got Instagram in the very beginning, the way likes were set up, it would be the username spelled out. And if you got more than maybe 9 or 10, then it would turn from the names into a number. And so I remember every time I posted, I really hoped that I would get enough likes to get the number. And if I did, I just would get that nice like dopamine hit and I'd feel so good. And so now I get more than that. Some people are like, well, say, what does it feel like to get that many likes? And the reality is it feels the exact same way it did whenever I got enough likes to get the number. Nothing about it is fulfilling. Nothing about it makes my life better. If anything, it probably adds more stress in the end. And then also, of course, we see people living lives that we think look really nice to us. And maybe we wish that we could have things the way that they did. Maybe they have the quote unquote perfect relationship or home. But it's interesting. All of us have such different circumstances, but we're always going to find someone to compare to. There have been times where I have had to unfollow people where I know I am comparing to them, and that person may be awesome. They may love Jesus, may be posting really good things, but it's really not worth it when it could cause those unhealthy thoughts for me. So there's small things I do like that, but obviously at the end of the day, we have to get to the root of the problem and realize where we're finding our worth. Is it in what we do or how we look or what our status is, or are we finding our worth in Jesus and who he says that we are?
Yeah, that's so true. And so I'm just wondering, what are some things that you would say to anybody who's wanting to have a healthier relationship with social media?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's important to determine what the purpose of social media is for you. I think it's fine if it is just an outlet for you for, entertainment or memes or news. I think it's good to have times and places where you can just chill out and rest. It may be a place for you to just connect with friends and family members and to share aspects of your life, which I really love the aspect of it. And it could be a place where you really do find purpose, where you have a platform where you can make a difference, where you can share Jesus or share about nutrition like I am. For me, honestly, it is a combination of all of those things. But when I get on social media, I really don't just want to be mindlessly scrolling. I do want to be intentional with how I'm spending my time, because God's given me a limited amount of time and I want to steward it well. The question I want to be constantly asking myself is, what are my intentions right now on social media? And is this adding value to my life, or is it taking away? So honestly, that's a little bit simple, but I think it is as simple as that, is making sure that what you're doing and how you're spending your time is bringing value and is, of course, honoring to God. So for anyone using social media and who wants a healthy relationship, I think you've got to start there. And then you've got to decide for you, when it comes to setting boundaries, what accountability are you going to need for your personality? My husband has a set time that he's on social media, and then when he's not, he literally deletes the app so he won't even be tempted. Maybe you need that. I know he's very disciplined. It's very impressive. And then maybe you're like me and it's actually part of my job. And sometimes I'll get messages late at night that are urgent because it's part of my business. And in that moment, I will have to make the decision to respond or not respond, depending on how urgent it actually is. So yeah, you have to look at the context of your life there.
That is so good.
the goal should always be amplifying Jesus and then doing what he's called you to do. So as someone that I don't have the largest following, but I've experienced some of it, I just really want people to know that.
Here's what's happening in your brain. Scientists, doctors, and researchers have discovered that overuse of technology, most people say 2 hours or more a day, can increase anxiety and depression, especially in children and teenagers. It can also lead to eye strain, which is one reason blue light blocking glasses have been gaining popularity. Speaking of blue light, you've probably also heard that you should stop watching TV, get off your phone, and minimize your exposure to blue light technology before bed. And that's good advice, because using technology at night can disrupt your body's natural circadian rhythm and block your body's production of melatonin, aka your body's natural sleep aid. Another interesting way technology impacts your brain is through the production of dopamine. You know how when you get on Instagram and people like your photo, you start feeling all validated and happy? You can thank dopamine for that. Dopamine is a feel-good chemical in your brain that gets released when we do something good. It's a little hit or reward we feel when someone gives us a compliment, after we complete a workout, or when we get a good grade or performance review. God made our brains this way, and it's really helpful for motivating us to do good, healthy things. But social media produces a lot of dopamine for us in short bursts of time. So, when you log on, you get hits of dopamine when people like your post. That can become problematic when your brain gets addicted to the dopamine rush and you find yourself scrolling for hours. And research has emerged that social media companies know how your brain works and design features to keep you scrolling. You know how sometimes you open Instagram and there's no notifications at all, and you're kind of bummed, but shortly after you log on again and you see the ever-validating heart icon? That's on purpose. They know that if you get notifications every time, then you'd expect it, and it would lose a little bit of the thrill. But when your brain doesn't know whether or not it's going to get a hit, it makes it all the more addicting. So, when we overuse technology, we start finding that it's actually using us. And that makes it harder to quit because our brains are becoming addicted to the feeling we get when we use it. Now remember, technology is not the enemy. We just need to make sure we're setting boundaries so that our brains, our bodies, and our souls can thrive the way God intended. That's science, and that's what's happening in your brain.
So I'm going to start out by just having you tell us a little bit about you.
All right. My name's Tiffany Hicks. I'm almost 30. I grew up in Norman, Oklahoma. I am biracial. My father is Black. My mother is as white as can be. And then there's me in the middle.
And what do you do for a living?
For a living, I like to consider myself a professional hype woman, but really people pay me to help with their social media, small businesses, independent people. I'm just here to help everyone.
That's great. I appreciate people like you in the world.
Thank you.
So, like we've seen recently, social media can be an avenue to bring about change. But I was wondering, how have you been processing the relationship between social justice and social media?
There is a strong connection there, both for the good and for the bad. Mm-hmm. I've seen people post things. People have reached out to me to ask questions. And I can share my experiences. Obviously, I can't share experiences of others, but I can help them continue their own conversation with themselves.
Yeah.
And in the same sentence and in the same breath, there are people I don't respond to because I can't take on the whole world, but also I genuinely don't think they're coming from an open heart and they're just trying to stir the pot.
Oh, no.
And while I love stirring the pot on things like pineapple on pizza, I'm not here to have a virtual fight with you over justice issues and things of that nature.
Right. Yeah. Because when you said that a lot of people were messaging you, like my first thought was like, oh, do you like that?
If I have the relationship with them, yes. Mm-hmm. Even if it's someone from high school, like we at least know each other. If it's some random person who just made a Facebook 3 weeks ago and I can tell they're going to be a troll, no, thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of people reach out personally. Like if you have my phone number, do it. Mm-hmm. Especially if I post something about the issues or I post something spiritual and they want to have a conversation about it, I'm here for it. That doesn't mean I can reply to everyone in the same day.
Right.
But I'm like, hey, I read your message. I'll get back to you.
Sure.
I need to wrap my brain around everything.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you think that we can take what we see online and use it to start real conversations in our own life with our own communities?
I think it really starts over like the family dinner table, which can also be virtual. Like the idea of just saying, hey, let's get together and talk about this. I want to know your opinions. I want to know how you grew up and the biases that you have intentionally or unintentionally.
Yeah.
And that's a way just to start the conversation. And it doesn't have to be battled out in one night. You don't have to have a conversation in order to change someone's mind, because that's always going to be up to them and their own heart.
Well, and it's like if somebody were to like get on in my DMs and say, hey, you need to think this way, my response to that is going to be like, do I? Like,
Yeah.
why should I listen to you about this?
First, I don't know who you are. Or
Right.
if I do, this is not the way to go
Right.
about that conversation. And
Yeah.
second, like having an open conversation and not just telling people how to feel and how to act. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you learn as a teenager, the moment your parents tell you to do something, I want to do the exact opposite.
Right.
But if you're willing to have a conversation to tell me why this is this way, how you think it's going to help, I'm willing to at least converse with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned like that the conversation starts around the family dinner table, but I'm single. I think you're
Welcome to
single.
the club.
Right. Yeah. So when you say family dinner, like how does that happen? Like I'm assuming you don't mean like you drive to your parents' house and
no,
like, have
your
dinner.
family is the people you put around you. It's the
Okay.
people you have those conversations with. It's the people you say, look at this funny thing that happened that I'm not going to share with anyone else but these 5 people
Yes.
that are your close friends
Yes.
on Facebook or Instagram, like the people I want to turn to for advice, your mentor, spiritual, your parents, however they fit into your life.
Yeah. That's
Basically.
good. So as you have been interacting on social media, what are some of the things that you have learned about having a healthy relationship with social media?
I just read the statistic, over 3 billion people have access to social media.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous. That's a lot of information just
Yeah.
to look at, to
Yeah.
scroll through. And not all of it is healthy. And that depends on your own personal take on the time you have, how you invest that time. And personally, I have a lot of social media for work purposes and for me, like I mentioned. And so I have had very unhealthy relationships with it before, and it can take over your life instantly.
Yeah.
The same way I love bread, I can't eat bread every single day. I don't need to be on. Unfortunately, Oprah would agree. You have to make boundaries personally, professionally,
Yeah.
and so there are time limits. And I have to separate my work social media from my personal social media. Work happens, it pays the bills, but I can put it down and I don't have to touch it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay if you're not in the know at all times.
Right.
Like.
Yeah.
The important people will reach out to you, not on social media, if something important happens.
That's so true. I feel like those things were really clear to me when social media was like a place for you to post vacation photos.
Right.
And your avocado toast or whatever. Those boundaries for me are getting less clear now that social media is being used more and more for social justice.
Yes. A lot of people will be like, share this picture. And if you don't, then you're not supporting this cause. And you're like, well, I didn't get on social media that day, so I didn't post
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you don't support it. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're not having the conversations.
So talking about boundaries, what are some of the good boundaries that you can put in place?
Once you've put boundaries in place to safeguard your own energy and your own passions, you can go full force on social media and you can put videos and personal stories. And my favorite is when I see people who've had a change of heart and they share that, because
Yeah.
people see and can tell if you're being genuine.
Yeah.
And when you put that out there, people will notice. They'll either have their own personal convictions and start having conversations with other people, or they'll start a conversation with you. And that's really what social media is for, is just to get the awareness out there. Social media is one of the greatest things of our generation. I can reach people I've never met. I can have influence, hopefully in the positive manner.
Yeah.
And then there are people on social media who need to see and hear different perspectives. And that's probably only going to happen through social media because they've surrounded themselves with people who think exactly like they do. And the only way conversations are going to start is when you challenge that. And ideally, as it moves movements of justice ahead,
Yeah.
we're going to see actual change come from it.
So if we think back to our original question of how to have a healthy relationship with technology, I really liked the bread analogy that Tiffany gave us. I think that social media and technology can be like bread. It's really good. I love bread, big bread supporter. But when we use it too much, it can become unhealthy for us. And it reminds me of 1 Corinthians 6:12 that tells us, like, you say, I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is good for you. And even though I'm allowed to do anything, I must not become a slave to anything.
Like when Mandy felt like she got too much all at once and then needed a break from it. I mean, I've definitely felt like a slave to my phone, like even this week.
Same.
And I think that one reason that God doesn't want us to be controlled by technology is because it can take from relationship with Him, relationship with others. Actually, this week I was posting something on Facebook and a friend was disagreeing with me. And the way he did it, I felt offended by. And I was honestly feeling like I just want to write him off or I want to write back and be nasty. And thankfully I didn't do either in the moment. I suspended that and I sent him a text instead to give him a chance to think about it and just told him, hey, that hurt my feelings. And so then he calls me back later that night and we talked for like 2 hours, had a great conversation, and we're much closer because of it. Had I just relied on social media, probably wouldn't have gone so well. So this got me thinking about 2 John 1:12. Actually, the writer of 2 John, who's probably one of Jesus's closest friends, writes to some people in the church. He says, I have much to write to you, but I do not want to use paper and ink. Instead, I hope to visit you and talk with you face to face so that our joy may be complete. So like way back in the Bible times, this guy realizes like even pen and paper. I mean, when we talk about writing a letter, that's like, oh man, even pen and paper is not enough. Like sometimes for real joy in relationships, you got to be together. And I know some people can't, maybe even while they're listening to this during this time, but maybe there's a way over the phone or one of those dreaded video calls or something.
Zoom call. No, I think that's good. I think that that's the question this week is, what are some things that we try to do with technology or social media that we should be doing face-to-face or at least over the phone? Yeah, so that's the challenge this week is just talk about that question with your family, your friends, your life group, just people you care about. And we will have that question and more like it in the conversation guide.
Thanks for listening to Season 2 of the You've Heard It Said podcast. I hope that the conversation we had today inspires you to have your own conversation with real people. And so we actually put together a guide for that. It's full of questions and resources. There's even a link in that guide. You click the link and it'll like subscribe you so that you know whenever we release a new episode and conversation guide. And can you do me a favor? Can you just leave a review, please, and subscribe and all that stuff? We really appreciate you, and thanks for listening.